There is another feature which is pretty nice, but that's something we saw before, which is when you go to wireless, you can have this RF spectrum view. That view is very nice because it allows you to see the spectrum pretty much as if you were using a Cisco Spectrum Expert or channelizer from MetaGeek, but you don't need to do anything special on the access points. If your access point supports this view, the dashboard supports it, and whatever the access point reports to the cloud is going to be seen dynamically here. So of course the color code reflects the activity. Red is more than blue. And you can see as the access point scans around and refreshes the traffic that you can see across the different channels of the 2.4 band. You can of course see the same thing for 5 GHz. So because it's in the cloud, of course, it is not as dynamic and as fast and refreshing as you have when you use Clean Air in Spectrum Expert mode, where you have a direct LAN connection, so you can send a lot of information in a very short amount of time. But when you want to monitor your environment and see what the global activity of the RF spectrum is like, this is a very handy tool to have a good idea of which channels are used by what access point. Here it's a very dense environment, so of course you see a lot of activity and all the channels are taken. This is why I wanted you to see this large environment and also going back to the smaller environment so you can compare and see the difference. So let me take one access point like this and go to the 5 GHz band so you can see what happens here. And you see we do have some activity in some channels like this one, but the other channels are pretty quiet. There is not much going on here. And this is because, of course, it's a smaller environment, so we have less neighbors and we have less traffic on those different channels. What is also very interesting in this view, and this is something you may not have seen very well in the Spectrum Experts mode because the channel update was so dynamic, is that even if there is an access point like here on channel 153, you do not always have activity there. This line shows you that there is traffic, and whenever at the bottom you see a lighter line, that tells you that some packets were received or sent. That is a sign of activity. But when the AP doesn't have a client sending anything, when it's only a beacon every 100 milliseconds, the channel is very quiet, so you don't see much of activity. Compare this to what you see on channel 36, where this is an active access point with active traffic. You see traffic pretty much all the time. Those lines are very useful to tell you in a glimpse what kind of load you are seeing on those different access points and different channels. This is the RF spectrum,